Okay, let's try this again. Hi, this is Bill again. I'm doing the next installment of the developer diary for the CRISPR VR piece. I've got two or three things to show today, so let's get started. First thing I want to show is we've got some modeled assets. Uh, these are really high poly actually. I think we're going to give a pass on getting the textures down, the model down. Um, so you can pick them up. They're kind of big. They're sort of the size of a car. Um, uh, One of the things I've been working on recently is the shader that's associated with it. Um, there is a proximity shader. So as the object moves more closely to the camera, we actually make the exterior membrane translucent so that you can dive into the cell itself and see what's going on in the nucleus. It's not 100% done yet, but it's got some nice effects to it. There's some translucency there, sort of like some ripples of membrane wall as you approach it. One of the things that I worked really hard on was getting it so that shader is complex enough. It has animation and whatnot in it that it will take the frame rate down if it's applied to all these objects, of which I think there's 1,000, maybe 500, 500, maybe 500, 500 objects in the scene at the moment. So based on the user's headset, the proximity to the object, we're actually swapping materials at runtime. This one, for example, once it gets far enough away, it turns into a much simpler shader than the one that's close up and available for hitting the ceiling. It's available to work on proximity. So using my gravity enhancer to pull that object to me in the black hole. This is the one that we would be doing work on. And this is now, as it approaches me, it actually gets the shader swapped. I think it's imperceptible. You can't tell that it's when it swaps, which is pretty cool. It just all of a sudden becomes translucent. Pick it up and stealing a page out of Valve's cookbook sort of thing for moving from scene to scene. I thought it might be cool to dip into the cell itself to go to the next scene. So that would pull our transition to go to the interior of the nucleus where you'll have your DNA strands and you'll be able to manipulate this and do some sort of gene splicing, stitching stuff going on here. So that's from the beginning to the final scene, sort of the transitions that go into that. One of the other things I was working on was a palette menu for tools, which is like that. It kind of comes out of the thing here. The scaling's nice. It feels really cool. There's a little bit of haptics involved, so the controller sort of vibrate just a touch when they open and close. This is actually a PNG that we're scaling on a quad, so it only has like texture on one side. And the idea here is that you'll go to your palette menu and you'll pick out an object, and the intersection of the head of the controller with the hotspot that's generated here around the object, pulling the trigger then will give you the object to be able to manipulate something on here, start some sort of sampling thing. I got this, and I got those guys. Just an idea that you'll have different sorts of objects here you'll be able to interact with and make some sort of changes to the DNA based on that stuff. So it's pretty cool. Feels really tight. I think I can actually, yeah. I still have collision on it. So there's 4 quads here, just giving us little rectangles for collision to be able to detect which object we're on at any given time. It's kind of a nice way to do it. It's cheap. Keeps the frame rate good. Yeah, so that's that. That's where we are at the minute. Hope that was cool. Thanks.